Hi, welcome back.
What's up, ladies?
What's
Good,
up,
good.
soul sisters? Happy Wednesday, happy hump day.
Yes, happy Wednesday.
How y'all
How's everybody?
feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm glad this Neptune square is moving and we're moving into this trine because now I feel back normal again. I was a train wreck. It was,
Is that what's going on?
it was horrible. It was messing with my mental, my physical, my emotional with the two moons, the two Cancer moons. And I have to tell you the story about me losing my wallet and all of that kind of stuff. And all
Oh
my
my God.
money.
You know
Okay.
what? That's funny. The same day you told me that, I went to breakfast the next morning, or was it the same morning you told me that? When Anthony was here, and guess what? I
What?
almost left my purse in Cracker Barrel. And the
Yeah.
lady said, you need this? I said, oh damn.
Yeah, it takes your wits away from you. You're not that sharp, not really. You're kind of out of it. Just anything that has to do with Neptune to me is just no fun. I just don't. That's just not my favorite planet. So when there's a square in Neptune, next time there's a square in Neptune, I'm just keeping my ass in the house. I'm not going anywhere. To me, it's worse than a full moon.
Can you give us a heads up? I didn't even know that it was
I
a
didn't know. I didn't know either. I had to look it up because I was like, "What the hell?" I've never lost my wallet in my entire life.
Even my daughter texted me today and she was like, listen, what do I do with this sage? Because she said, I don't know if I need to clear the energy from people being in my house or what, but my anxiety has been on 10.
Yes, it messes with your
Oh, wow.
anxiety, your emotions. I was really on edge, upset. Neptune messes with your mental health too. It's a serious planet that's associated with mental health as well. So, and that may explain some of the things that's been going on lately, like we were talking about with Kanye. Because if you have a certain transits with Neptune, which lasts about 3 years, you can literally think you're going crazy,
Yeah.
but you're not. You're just feeling the effects of Neptune, which is the planet of illusion. LA reminds me of Neptune. You think something is one way, but it's really another. It's foggy. You can't see. You just can't think straight, and nothing is making sense. It's very, I don't know, I guess Disney World like, not real, but not real.
And that's a good
Wow.
segue into today's topic. We're talking about mental health, right? Mental health,
Mental wellness.
mental wellness.
Well,
Okay.
yes, mental wellness. But before we get deep into it, make sure you guys hit the like, subscribe button, sign up for those notifications so you can be up to date with what Soul Sisters are saying.
Exactly. Well, we're just talking about our conversations that we talk about amongst each other and just decided to share with the world. So, of course, we want your input in all our conversations as well. So, a perfect example of Neptune is I keep my fortunes from the fortune cookies, and I keep them in a basket. So, sometime when I'm feeling some type of way, I can pull them. So I got 3 fortunes. Phoenix was playing with them, lost 2 of them. I always pull 3 fortunes whenever I go anywhere. So Phoenix lost 2 of them, and there was only one left. And that one said, "Today is your lucky day." And I looked at it that morning, and I was like, "Well, okay, all right, Spirit. I wonder what's going to happen today." So it didn't feel very lucky because that is the day I lost my wallet. And I was getting out of the shower. I got a phone call, a text message that said, "I found your wallet. I'll bring it to you. Where do you live?" So I automatically started panicking. I automatically thought, okay, all my cash is going to be gone, my credit cards. Like, I'm just going to get a piece of wallet with some, crap left over. And which taught me more about my negative thinking and, just trying to move away from that and thinking more positive. And I wasn't even thinking about the fortune I saw earlier that morning when this happened because I went into an automatic panic. No one wants to have to replace their driver's license and credit cards, and I had a lot of cash in my wallet. So I said, I'm in Skyline Lofts, and I told her what apartment and stuff I was in, and she happened to be in the same complex, happened to be on the same floor, right around the corner. So I said, okay, I'll come to you. So I went over to her and we met. She's a nurse. She said she's a healer. She saw my business card in my purse. And she said, I'm a healer too, and I'm in the crystals and yada, yada, yada. So I was so grateful. I hugged her. I wasn't even thinking about COVID. Like, I didn't even care at that point. I was just so happy. I got my wallet. She said, everything's there, all your cash. You don't have to worry. So that's what made me think, that's kind of like Neptune when spirit is very loud and clear, but think something is bad, but it's really, really good, and it's very confusing. It's extremely confusing. So long story short, she said it was hard for her to make friends. I'm not the best person at making friends either, so we've made friends. And she said it was meant for me to meet you because I need some work done, and she kind of needs some therapy stuff. She wants some crystals made. So she thought it was very extremely divine, and she made me look at it that way too. But of course, in the beginning, I really wasn't looking at it like that. But I was extremely that I had gotten my wallet back with everything in it, even all my money, because I knew if I was at home in the NO, that would probably not be.
And
don't even.
And then your fortune cookie was in alignment.
Exactly, and that was the only one I could find that day when I I still can't find the other two. I don't know what Phoenix. I don't know if she ate them or what she did with them. I think she had a little stash place around here, but that was the only one I could find. The one that said today is your lucky day. Man, I was so happy about that. You have no idea.
Wow.
Well, since we're talking about mental wellness, I just want to really quickly shout out this little t-shirt I have on, Vaku. So this is a young man here in the NO where there are good people and they return wallets. He's an artist. He's a musical artist, and he started this clothing line. And Vaku, the definition of, let me make sure, it is indescribable happiness.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, so we'll have to have him on. He did send us an email. He wants to be on and have some discussions with us. But since that was our topic, I thought it was appropriate to wear his shirt because of what it means. And that's kind of what we hope to help some people get to that undescribable happiness. And of course, we know that all starts in the mind. So I thought that kind of tied together on top of this, a young Black brother with a business. I mean, I got a lot going on here. I got some arm candy on from a Black sister. I got my nails done. Y'all know where I went for my nails.
Exactly. Wooden file, Black owned.
So I mean, that's kind of a little side thing, but I still had to shout everybody else. So getting to that indescribable happiness, it takes work. And so we're not doctors, but we do some work. So if anybody wants to do any work with us, you can send us an email. I had a couple of sisters reach out to me, and so hopefully we're going to start doing some work. The request was specifically about inner peace. So that kind of ties, like you have to get this together before you can get that inner peace. So I just wanted to put that
right. I love that shirt. It's super cute. I gotta get one. I love it.
Like it so.
I want to see what else he has. So you're gonna have to shoot us the information and put it in the description so I can grab.
Yeah, I'll keep doing that. I'm sorry. I'll link them in the description. The shirt, of course, the nails. If you're in New Orleans, I'll do that too. And I got a couple of people going on here, but then my latest one is from my girl at Shop Emerald Stone. So I'm gonna link them in the
I like that name. Shop Emerald. Okay, well, that's good. I think, well, when we talk about our happiness, and sometimes you can be happy and then just go haywire, like what's happened with all this stuff in cancer. Um, Sometimes I think people just have to be aware that it's the planets that affect your well-being sometimes. And sometimes things just need to come up and come out. I was watching a video where a woman was talking about Kanye, because Dara wanted to talk about Kanye, where Kanye, she said she was talking about he needed to be committed, and she felt like the Kardashian girls aren't good for black men. They're just pimping black men, using black men, making their real estate go up, yada yada. And which I agree. I agree with a lot of the things that she did say in reference to that relationship, or what I know of that relationship. But the one thing I didn't agree with was when she said she felt like Kanye needed to be committed because he was lashing out or crying. And I watched the video, and he talked about how his dad wanted to abort him and his mom wanted to keep him, which to me is a huge reason to be crying and being upset. And one thing we know about Kanye is Kanye always speaks his mind, whatever state it's in. He's speaking his truth, which to me there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't mean that you should commit someone because they're going through a healing process, or just stating how they feel, whether you agree with it or not, whether it sounds appropriate or doesn't sound appropriate, does not require being committed to a hospital. Sometimes you can do your own self work, and we've all been there where we crying for no reason. We don't know what's wrong, or we lash out, or we react. I mean, we're human, and that happens. So I just was upset with her, and I told her I felt like you're being just like the Kardashian women with trying to attack Kanye because you want to commit him. And why isn't for our first reaction to help someone, or let's talk it through or work it out and be compassionate and understanding? Why do you have to, throw some shade and you want to commit a brother? I have a huge problem with us speaking up against one another in really negative ways, and or you don't want to throw the key away, just like with the doctor who says she's found the cure to COVID, and now everyone wants to discredit her. And I just think if they weren't black, they wouldn't get that same type of reaction from other black sisters and brothers, or wouldn't really be that huge of a discussion. And I think every time someone really comes out with something that's not bad, it's a good thing he's telling people how he feels. How many of us could have been an abortion, or, or ended up that kind of way? And if you know something like that, it would affect you on a mental level. And people are going through their awakening, and that awakening process can make you feel like you're going crazy, because I've been through it. And I literally slept through it for 3 years and just talked to spirit. And I can tell people firsthand, I felt like I was going crazy. And I remember hearing someone very close to me say, I think you need to talk to someone. We might have to put you, go to a hospital, and everything is not that serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you are going through a healing process, you are allowed to break down. You're allowed to have a nervous breakdown. You're allowed to cry and lash out or be upset or be even irrational when you are going through a huge transformation like that. So
Well, I heard, I agree with everything that you're saying, Keisha. I did hear Kanye admit on I don't know if it was a Today show or one of those Tonight shows. I don't watch TV, but I was catching it up on YouTube, and I saw him admit to being bipolar. He admitted that. So one thing I want to say about that is I definitely don't feel nothing's wrong with going through your healing and your awakening. That's what we're all here to do anyway. However, I do feel like if we don't have some type of control over our emotional stability, I don't feel like we should be entering into relationships. I don't feel like definitely should not be running for presidency. Just in my opinion, I feel like there should be a hermit stage in our life for healing. And then I feel like when we feel like we're more grounded and stable, then it's time to move forward. I mean, that's just my opinion because I've definitely been through the broken stages and I was not fit for anybody's wife, anybody's mother for that matter. But, that's my opinion. I feel like there should be a stage that we're still, just like with COVID, we're forced to be still, but we have to be still to heal. And whether that's therapy for some people, for me, it was reading a lot and meditating and praying. That could be anything for anybody, you know. I think it's necessary to go through that space and not to say you're coming out and you're all done and perfect. No, but at least you have some type of grounding and stability, you know. I mean, I'm still in because I consider myself a student of life, so I'm always learning. I never claim to know it all, but you can feel a sense of grounding where you feel like, okay, now I'm ready to move on to this space. You know what I mean? But
I
if you
get
feel
what
like
you're saying, but some,
I just
yeah,
don't feel like, you know what I mean? If you feel like you're all over the place, and I would say no, don't move forward in certain important things that involve other people's lives. That's my opinion. 'Cause like I said last week and on the radio show last week, hurting people hurt people. Just like with August and Jada. Both of them admitted to where they were both in a certain space. And what did it do? As you can see, people are still hurting from that. You know what I mean?
yeah. But that's if you know you're in that space. So what happens when you say you're married and you have your awakening process in the middle of a marriage, or you have episodes, and just because you're bipolar doesn't mean you need to be committed. That it shouldn't have to be that extreme. And if Kanye does run for president, is that any worse than Donald Trump running for president? And his mental health is questionable as well, like a lot of our mental health and our mental state. I mean, to me, the whole world is in a mental health crisis with everything we have to deal with on a regular, and everything we've dealt with in the past has gone on. Everyone goes through a certain state of some type of mental issue, and who's to say whose mental health is healthy or really not healthy? And then if, like, Kanye is already in a marriage and already has kids, and say he didn't know he was bipolar in the beginning, or say you have your awakening when you're already in the midst of these relationships. So sometimes it's just not that cut and dry and that pretty where you are even aware that you're really going through something like that.
Well, see, for me, it took me to actually be in a relationship to realize that where I needed growth. So I'm talking about after I got out of that relationship because it became very toxic and abusive. I decided to stay in hermit mode for until I felt like it was time for me to rejoin society. Because that's just I feel like the responsibility I owed myself, as well as inviting other people into that mess that I was in. That's not cool.
Right.
So
That's fair to say. When you're aware of it, you can
yeah.
you can be proactive, exactly, when you're aware.
What say you, Nilo?
I can agree with parts of what both of y'all said. I know in my first marriage, when I first started getting this yearning in my spirit about there being more outside of the church, and I was feeling suffocated in the place that I was in, and I started rebelling against the beliefs that we had when we first came together were very similar. And then I started to go through a stretching process. And it wasn't at the same time with my then husband. And so it was a sticky situation. There were some mean things that were said. Was constant, let me pray for you because the devil is riding you type of situation.
Mhm.
But we have to stay true to the things that we hear, things that we inside, because that's really the only voice that matters. And so sometimes being in a marriage, you do get kind of stuck in that space of staying because of the marriage, or if you realize, this journey is about me and I need to focus on me. And that means if something is happening with me, then I need to focus on that. And if you can't support me in that, then that might be a problem. But you will have times in a marriage where you're not going to be growing at the same pace. You're going to have some dealing with some mental things, and your mate is really supposed to support you in that. So it's there's so many moving parts to this thing that I agree with Dara when she was talking about, you have to be grounded, but also the other side is when you're not aware of these things, and when you have grown up a certain way and you think that this is what grounding is, you think that this is what it is, then that's how you operate until you get into a place where you start to notice that things are not working, things are not panning out, and then maybe you'll start to self-analyze. Okay, what am I doing wrong? Where am I going wrong? So then you can take a step back. But you have to be aware of that. Like you said, you got to be aware of that. So we have to take responsibility, I think, for actions and the way that we interact with people, and take inventory of ourselves. And if that's not coming back to you in the way that you want it to, then you got to check yourself. And then those self-checking points that you get to this point, you have to check yourself, and then you get to, and you have to check yourself some more. That is going to bring about more mental wellness. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So the people that y'all are talking about, Donald Trump and Kanye West and all of that, I don't really have an opinion other than, it is what it is. I mean, you really can't change there. You know how it is. When you want to change, you have to change. You can't force people to change. So I think that no matter how much we yell at somebody or tell them they need help or try to commit them, it's never going to work until it clicks inside of you.
Right.
It's just not gonna work unless you click to that thing, and then you start to focus on yourself.
Right. On the radio show I did on JPRG radio last week, we spoke about mental health as well. And one thing one of our listeners mentioned was that there's not enough attention being placed on mental health. And I agree, because I feel like as a whole, as a collective, we're suffering because of mental health. And they don't teach this in school. They don't teach us that the most important being is self. They teach us the opposite. In homes, in churches, and everywhere we go, we're taught to go outside of ourselves, and yet we're left high and dry, not undernurtured. And I was just talking about this to one of my friends that it just came up in my spirit this morning, as a matter of fact. You know how some of us, not everybody, hears their thoughts, and then you wake up and you can recall your thoughts, right? I do that a lot. So I woke up this morning and I heard my higher self say, it's time for radical self-love and self-nurture. The things that you're doing, it's fine, but now it's time for you to take it up a notch and cater to self. And that's not being selfish. When you put yourself in this 200% self-love mode, you can be more loving and on top of your game for everybody else around you. We have to look at it like that. Sometimes it's just time to step aside and be in hermit mode, or not. If you can, multitask, like wives and husbands sometimes can't be in hermit mode. They don't have the luxury of being in their spiritual closet, because you got to cater to husband and wife. Well, my higher self told me, you know what? It's time to learn how to set boundaries for yourself even more. It's time for you to learn how to self-love with even taking your eating habits to a higher level, your meditation, your workouts, your prayer life to a higher level, because we got to understand that we're ascending. So as we ascend, we're allowing in more light. And if we're not in balance with that and able to anchor in that light, then we can lose our minds. You know what I'm saying? It has to be a balance.
Balance. Yeah.
Well, let me say something about, of course, since you brought up the married, I'm going to talk about that. So if you are in, how can I say this? Basically, if you marry to the right person, ain't really no sugarcoating it. If you marry to the right person, that's not going to be a problem, because you have the love for me, and you are going to understand that this is my journey as well as yours. And sometimes that doesn't look, sometimes that looks like we're doing things separately. We're having our own separate prayer time. We're having our own set. That's what this looks like when you're in a relationship where that reciprocity of understanding and respect and mutual love, where you want that mate to be their best self, you're not going to have a problem with giving you guys deciding, okay, this is my space, this is my time, and it's only for me. Yeah. Now, if that's not happening, then there definitely needs to be some conversations and some counseling going on, because that is self, and that is not real love, when you cannot honor your mate wanting some time by themselves to do their spiritual work, whether it's working out or eating better, whatever the case may be. You have to allow that for your mate. You have to. Mm-hmm. And like y'all said, we are in a mental health crisis, and mental health is gold. And so if we don't treat it in that manner, it just constantly gets worse. So there are times where you have to turn down invitations, you have to not answer the phone. There are times where you're gonna have to, like she said, be in hermit mode. Mm-hmm. And understand that it might not be fun in there by yourself, but it's necessary, because only you know the things that you have gone through, and only you know the places you want to go. So you're going to have to find that strength to go through, to get from where you were to where you want to be on your own. Of course, you can have friends and sisters and organizations and whoever support you, but you really have to do the work on your own.
No. That's true.
You have to.
That's true. Totally agree.
But what I do, like this past week with the square and the cancer stuff going on, when I was just emotional, crying for no reason, extremely tired, not wanting to get up doing anything, and I felt real aggravated and agitated, angry, and I'm not normally like that. I'm normally just always happy and in a good mood. So I knew something was going on outside of myself. But that's the times when, like Nalo said, I don't answer the phone as much. Like, I only talk to you two. I didn't answer the phone for anybody else. I ordered all my comfort foods and things that I wanted, and did things for me that made me feel better. And I didn't feel guilty about sleeping all day like I used to feel that way. But now I don't. I cuddled up in my covers, listened to whatever videos, and when the phone rang, you can't be everything and everywhere for everyone else. When you even feel a slightest bit that you are falling apart, it's time for you to get back to yourself, so you can kind of fill yourself up and get regrouped. And even if you don't even know what's going on, to me, I swear by sleeping through stuff. I think that's the best way for me personally to handle things that go on. I sleep through it. I'll just take a nap, go to sleep. I'll take a bath. I sunbathe. I do a lot of the swimming pool, and sunbathing helps get me back to where I need to be too as well. But what I've learned is these planets have hold a huge amount of weight on how, especially empathic people, are affected and how they feel. And sometimes when you think it's you, it's not you. Or sometimes when someone's calling and you're feeling agitated because of who the person is, it's not them, because that's not how you feel about them. It's just everything that's going on in this environment, and you're feeling it because you're connected to the environment. Especially when everyone found out their kids weren't going back to school. I felt all of that energy. Like, I really felt that like a Mack truck. Like, I felt like the collective did not see that coming. They weren't happy about what was going on because they have to hurry up and try to rewire what's going on in the house and their lives. I have to go back to work. I need to do this. I need to do that. They're thinking through this whole thing. These kids are getting ready to go back to school, and now people are finding out that's not the case. And with Taurus and Uranus, and Taurus being our foundations, and Uranus being the hand of God and the wild card, that's going to be going on with us for the next 7 years. So it's even more crucial for us to hold on to our mental health, and like Dara said, the self-love, and there's probably going to be more of that coming up, and you're probably going to be even getting more people now, Lo, because nothing is like what we expected or is going to be like it was in the past. We don't really know what's going to happen for the next 7 years, and what you think is one thing could definitely be another. So I call it the wild card. So it's like you just don't know. And the thing about it is you can't even sense it, and a lot of times you're not going to dream about it, and you're not going to get signs from the universe a lot of the times about it either, because God is the only thing that's all knowing of what's going on around here. And sometimes when that takes place, we can't even lock into what we want to know. It's just going to be revealed to us when it's supposed to happen. So we have to up our faith game in the long run, because that's what it's going to take to make it through the next 7 years. 7 years is a long time to just not to know what the hell is really going to happen and what's really going on around here, especially when you're used to stability and knowing where things are coming from and what's going to take place.
Exactly. It's so funny you say that, because I just posted on Facebook today that the mind needs to become, the heart needs to become like a sea of love, but the mind a river of detachment. Did y'all read that post?
I think it said that.
Yeah. So basically, I just posted that, and it was just so profound that because that's where we are collectively. That's what needs to happen. We need to have a heart full of love to get through this. Period. That's who we are at the soul anyway. We are love, and that's what we need to become. We need to become love, literally, and not just people just saying, "Oh, I am love. I love myself." Okay, well, honor thyself. You know what I mean? In all things. And we need to be, like Keisha said, not knowing what's going to happen, learn how to just detach from the outcome. Just be love and accept it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm learning like right now. Like I was just having this conversation with one of my friends this weekend. It's like, okay, now I'm really, because I was just as emotional this weekend. And I was like, you know what? When I said, I really feel like I stay guarded and pretty much a loner a lot, because I don't have to deal with stuff like this. Being emotional, emotions come up. It's like I'm Gucci when I'm by myself. You know what I mean? But then when you interact with people that are close to you, it's like all kinds of things come up. You know what I mean? And I mean, at least that was my weekend. So it's like, okay, well, it comes up though to, like we said earlier, to heal, because a lot of that stuff is just wounds and scars from the past. And it takes other people that are close to you to bring out those triggers, you know what I mean? So that you can heal from it. So this process is it's very much a healing one, and mental health is definitely top priority in all of this. But at the same time, it's a rewarding one. And when you look at it from the bigger picture, just like my card that came out for today's reading as a collective, I got the sun. This is the outcome. When you look at it from the positive standpoint, outcome, it says enjoy success and happiness, because that's where you're going. When you heal from all of this, just like the caterpillar coming out of the cocoon and becoming this beautiful butterfly, they're beautiful, you know, and they're reigning in their beauty. And this is what the collective, the cosmos, the earth is moving towards. This
Ra. I love Ra.
I think that is, you have to seek awareness of self and others, and you have to understand allowance. So to me, those two kind of work hand in hand. When you become aware of yourself, you can of yourself inside of your body and outside of your body. You become more aware of others because you are aware of the things that are happening inside your emotions, and then the things that are happening on in the outside world. And then once you have that awareness that is so many journeys going on out here, then you have space for allowance for other people to go through their journeys in their own ways. And so it's less arguments, and it's less going back and forth because everybody is on their own journey. So you have to have that awareness, and you have to have that allowing, and that has to kind of work together. Does that make sense?
That's beautiful, and it's alignment, and it makes perfect sense because I chose the deck by Carolyn Miss. She's a medical intuitive. She deals mostly with the body, health, and the mental state. And two cards just fell out of the deck, so I didn't even really have to do any shuffling. But the two that fell out are exactly what you just said, Nalo. The first one is addict. And what it talks about is helping you recognize and confronting addictive behavior. So you were just saying that you have to be able to recognize and confront it, and any type of behaviors, and be responsible for yourself, and be in that state where you can work through it. And then the next card was angel, and that talks about helping those in need with no expectation in return. So that really lines up with the allowance that you were talking about. So that's another example of Neptune, how Neptune works, because it's so magical. And Nalo didn't pull cards. She's like, I didn't pull cards this time, but she didn't have to, because when you're doing something for spirit, it aligns automatically. She had no idea what cards I pulled. And it was exactly, and she spoke first. And I always pull one card and two just fell out the deck, and it was the exact same thing that she's talking about. Just being aware, you're having your own journey. Everybody has that thing that they're addicted to, something that they have to work on. Everyone has that. And if it's, you exchange one addiction for another at different times in your life, and it's okay. But we are to be the light and shine through, so we can have love and help one another, because we have the opposite of that already. So why not be love? Why not be music? Why not be creative? Why not be the light? This is talking about being the light, and more people are going to be feeling with Leo season, and they need to be more of the light and share themselves more, because people need that energy, especially with us not getting it for 4 or 5 months from each other, and we can get it online. It's even more reason. I'm even trying to work with sharing myself more, because with being introverted. So we need to be shining our light, which is a card Tanya got. The sun is Ra. That's nothing but light. And the sun supports itself. It shines the light, and we are all a representation of Ra, the sun. So we have to shine our light, make provision, and show love, and stop trying to automatically go to the negative, or think negative, or do the opposite of what we really need to be doing to help one another really get through this. We don't have anything else to do while we're here but fight against the dark and do what's right.
So I'm in 100% agreement, but I see the little notification. So if you guys need a tribe, a support system, we have a Facebook group that we're trying to kick up a little bit more, what Soul Sisters say, where we can talk about these things. And also you can email us if you want to talk about some private personal things that you don't want to share in a group. We're available. We don't mind working with you. We have been through a lot of things, so we have things to share. And so whatever it is, don't be ashamed, put your pride, and understand that your soul growth is that's the goal, your soul growth. So whatever you need to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And